This race still very undecided.
The bottom lane just doesn't have enough cars now. The rules have been reversed.
They're running out of time and they know it.
How about Noah Mikulski in the L3? He can easily run in this battle. The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off in turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
Banks doesn't have a push. Hutton, can he do it off of turn 4? Right, giving him another push. They stack him to the outside. And the line, checkered flag, big surges to the bottom.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Saturday Night Racing League live from Sonoma Raceway. 40 laps here tonight for 80 miles. Race 4 out of 20 live on V-Speed. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn here tonight. 11 turns, 2 miles around this track, and it's going to be a solid 1.18 minutes of your life, and you have to do that 40 times. It's going to be a lot of discipline to get around this track. And Connor, you're one of the people that have been around here. We've all made laps around Sonoma. What's so frustrating about the S's in this place?
The amount of throttle control that you really need. Not even just these Gen 4 cars are going to be a handful, no doubt, but any car you race here in general, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's IMSA, really anything, Indy cars, throttle control is so important at this track, especially through the S's. Discipline all around is the name of the game. If you get on the throttle a little bit too hard, you're going to go spinning, you're going to be off track, you're going to lose a lot of time. And if losing time here is not something you want to do. It takes a lap to set up passes at a track like Sonoma. So you really cannot afford to make those types of mistakes. So everyone's got to be on their A game to not put too much throttle in coming out of a corner, especially out of a passing zones. You got to be careful getting on the throttle too early or not getting on the brakes in time. It is going to be a treacherous slope that you're trying to navigate today.
The vast majority of passes happen in the hairpin on the last turn just before they shoot into the start-finish line. That's also the entrance to pit road, so that's where a lot of accidents happen. That wall sneaks out and it grabs you really quickly. Saturday Night Racing League getting ready to go road course racing for the final swing in the West Coast. We're going to take a quick break here, get you that promo from V-Speed that you all know and love, and we're going to pull up on our grid AJ Stravado right after this.
Oh, big wiggle. Here comes Lyle using the bottom. South car closing in behind.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets turned.
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swag.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
Back here live at Sonoma Raceway. Connor Horn down on pit road. He's caught up to AJ Stravado with our pre-race interview.
Yes, I have. In fact, he is right here, still putting down laps, he is, but he is done with qualifying. So far sitting fourth, a 118.216. But obviously, one thing we haven't touched on yet, Bradley, but one thing everyone's going to be thinking about, how do you beat this 48 car? It is his track, it's his domain, it's hard to beat him. So that's one thing I'm going to ask you, AJ. You obviously got speed at these road courses. I've seen it firsthand. What is it going to take to beat that 48 car tonight?
Yeah, I don't think really anybody's got a shot. If you have to be completely honest with you, Jeff's really good here in this car track combo. So I think as long as we get a good top 3 result here, this isn't one of my strongest road courses and cars in general. I think on road courses. So as long as I can get a top 3, I think I'll be happy with that.
All right, so we're going to see looking for you in the top 3. Like I said, you're up in 4th right now. There's going to be not too much strategy as far as pitting in. We have the stage break on lap 10, as I'm aware, and we get one green flag stop with the fuel capacity the way it's at. So what do you think on a strategy after the stage break? What do you think is going to be more valuable? Undercutting, overcutting? What do you think is the key to getting track position for the final run here?
I think it really just depends on what everybody else around you is doing and what point of the run you're at. I think if you're a little bit quicker, you want to stay out like a lap or 2 later so you can gain that advantage over the last like half of the run. I would say probably want to split it in the middle. I think it's like 25 or so laps you can go on fuel. So as long as we can do that and execute, I think it'll be all right.
All right, so we'll be looking to see that Old Spice Monte Carlo up at the front. We also have to be paying attention to your pit entries tonight, AJ. We saw a lot of it last week. We're trying to see a little bit better this week.
Yeah, we're gonna try to avoid that again this week.
Yes, sir. A little bit easier. Definitely a odd pit entry, but we'll be seeing you tonight and looking for that top 3 run. We know you have the speed for it. Good luck, AJ.
Thanks, man. You too.
Yes, sir.
So there he is, AJ Stravado getting himself pumped up psychologically, beating that 48 car. It's been the story for the past 2 weeks at Fontana. I mean, he didn't walk away from the field, but it was a dominant performance. And then it was his to lose at Vegas. With all the lead changes and all the different situations we had, the 48 of Jeff Wright still came out on top.
He did still come out on top, and he did lead 78 laps, but it's kind of weird because I can't really say for sure that he's fully dominated a race. He dominated the end of Auto Club, and he led a decent amount of laps at Las Vegas, but Photo finish, he barely beat his teammate Eric Hutton at the very end. And had there been different tire strategy used, different pit strategy used by Joshua Banks at Auto Club, it could have been a different story there as well, because they were very even on pace. So waiting for him to pull away, this could be the night that he does it, because like I said, talking to AJ, this is Jeff Wright's track, and he showed it by going on pole by about half a second. So we got some drivers close on time. Chad Klinger has looked close in practice and qualifying, but the challenge is beating this 48, and you might not be able to beat him on track. You might have to pull pit strategy tonight.
Starting right up there on the pole, it's the 48 car with a 1 minute 16-second lap time. Chad Klinger about 0.5 of a second off in the outside. Starting in the second row will be Sean Langton in the 7 machine with AJ Stravato that we just talked to in 4th. 5th position will be Ryan Carlisle with Joseph McWhorter. We saw a lot of speed out of him in Vegas, just wasn't able to get it done and capitalize on that good track position towards the end. Michael Kostek will be in 7th position with James Loveland in 8th, and then rounding out your top 10 will be Jonathan Cofield and Taylor Butcher-Bitcherman.
A solid top 10. All of the guys we saw fast last week in that top 10. We'll see if anyone outside the top 10 could get to the front. Row number 6, Caleb Weekly, who showed flashes of promises last week in the 13 car, starting 11th. Jonathan Smith, the 72, starting in the 12th position. Then another Smith, Eddie Smith, a surprise top 3 finish last week, and a wild finish that it was at Vegas, starting 13th place. He is. And then Andy Kurtz, who on iRacing is 05, but sporting the Dale Jr. number 8 colors today. In the next row, Justin Ritchie, the number 55, and a blank number 55. Then the last driver to put a time down, the number 04, is going to be Travis Bieber in the Arby's Ford Fusion. I haven't been to an Arby's. Maybe I have to try it out at some point.
All right.
And then, yeah,
They got the meats.
I've heard. I got to try new experiences. Next row, Clifton Cockrell in the 40, who had a rough time last week at Vegas. He has not gridded, so maybe not making the start tonight. We'll have to see. Alongside him, Vincent Arthur, the next to 18th position, and then the next row, rounding out the top 20, Ray Massey in the 23, and Brett Bieber in the 808 Singular Wireless car.
Next row is going to have Eddie Trejo with Charles Feltz in 22nd. 23rd will be Stephen McDonald with Daniel Cunningham not making the grid as well. We're going to round out your field here with Mark McFadden and Max Cost in the 63. So we're all set up, ready to go. Jeff Wright taking that wide entry into turn 7, and I'm excited. Road racing at Sonoma, it's an acquired taste for a lot of these drivers, but if you get good at it, it can really pay off when it comes to championship races and pays dividends in the points.
No doubt about it. It's going to be a time when we might see the points maybe a little jumbled up. Obviously, the 48 is going to be fast, but we could potentially see players that we won't see a lot of the time in the rest of the season at normal oval races. Obviously, we got those guys who can specialize in this stuff, like Jeff Wright specializes in Sonoma. Carwell's been known to be a road course devil of sorts. But like I said, a lot of guys we saw at the top last week qualified in the top 10. So potential we don't see that type of mixed up, jumbled up stuff that we see at the road courses all around. We'll just have to wait and see.
Here they come to the hairpin corner. Pace car is gonna pull off. Jeff Wright's gonna lead him into turn 1, up the hill through the S's. 48 Cobalt machine looked great in practice. Closest relative, Chad Klinger, on his outside. Can I say it correctly this week?
We'll see.
Saturday Night Racing going live at Sonoma. And the lead lap, number 1, Jeff Wright gets it done, holds on to it. Took that exit a little wide through the hairpin. I thought he might get passed by Klinger, who had a much better drive out of that corner, but nonetheless, up through the S's, up the hill, and the 48 car on point right here.
Yeah, did a good job right there. Got away up the hill, and we'll see if he never looks back. He did have a bit of a dive into the hairpin, but he got a much better exit than Klinger because of that, as these two have raced away from Sean Langton in that 7. The Robbie Gordon paid scheme, we'll see if he pulls off antics, as McWhorter's gone way off. I don't know what happened there. It almost looked like he was going to take the carousel, but well off the track there.
Go back and take a look at that. Looked like he maybe just lost control. Throttle control may be an issue there. That's an uneven part of the track. That transition down the hill definitely caught him off guard.
A wild save there as well. You don't see him get sideways there that often, but he was able to hang on to it. Andy Kurtz nearly had an off, as still battling going on for the entire field. Mostly single file, but had a few scraps, had some contact here and there on that very first lap.
Back here to the 6th position driver. This is Michael Kostek. He's picked up 1 position since the start of this race, and Kostek looked really good. Had hints of speed at Las Vegas, just with all the different strategies. They were a little off point there with putting it all together towards the end of the race, and he falls out of the top 5 for the final finish. Looking to get a good finish here, though. He's got to chase down Ryan Carlisle, who's holding pretty tight there with AJ Stravado in the 4th position, the guy we just talked to pre-race. They've fallen off about 3 seconds already in just 3 laps.
That just shows the speed of these top 2, who, by the way, are still pretty close bumper to bumper, but no immediate battle between Wright and Klinger. The top 5 have raced away from Michael Kostek and friends. Kostek kind of on his own, James Loveland kind of creeping there. But then you have a 3-car line, McWhorter, Cofield, and Smith, and then it's the entire pack. Caleb Weekly versus the world out of turn 7.
Caleb Weekly in the 13. He stayed stagnant here. He's got Eddie Smith coming off that 3rd place finish last week, and hopefully he's been practicing the post-race interviews, because that 11 car, I look to see him up in the booth a few times this season. He said it was a fluke. I don't think so. I think the 11 team is solid here, and he looks to make a pass, gets a little loose there on through the S's. Right up on the bumper of Weekly.
Oh, and he
moves
taps
him.
him.
He gets a little contact.
A little aggressive for lap 3, but he's got the run. We'll see if Weekly responds to that at all. Is they're going to be side by side? Tough to do here. That caught the real Denny Hamlin out, that dog leg in real life, as they're going to stay side by side. Look how much time they're losing to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Ray Massey behind, just by being side by side in that part of a track, and he's going to spin him.
Now they're going around. Eddie Massey. Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Huge hit for Butcher Benjamin's.
Eddie Smith, Ray Massey, all involved in that. The 13 still trying to get it back on track. Smith gets away with one.
He's got some damage to boot with it, though, so I would say he fully got away with it. That was aggressive.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin probably gets the worst end of that deal. Lemon Hot Cheetos machine has seen better days. The left side completely smashed in. He's probably got some toe angles. I would say they're a little off here.
Would not be the least bit surprised if the steering is off a little bit, but gonna have to deal with it at this point. Both those drivers lost all of that track position, all the way down about 10 positions because of that. And Eddie Smith is not gonna really run much better with both fenders knocked in on that 11 FedEx Express machine. So Ray Massey wide there, he keeps it on the track mostly though, but that's what can happen, tight quarters racing, and especially when the bumpers are the way they are, they kind of give them the scoop turn when you're going up and down the hills like this.
Back up here to the lead. Jeff Wright hasn't quite left Chad Klinger. 0.7 of a second separating these two. Jeff Wright coming up on lap 5. I would have to say that Jeff's in a position here where he can relax. But that stage break, that really throws a wrench into things. There's no reason to really pull away and show your hand yet. If you're fast, don't show your secrets, because you're going to be reset and that field's going to be right back on top of you.
Yeah, you got to really kind of know that this is going to be a short run. So if you're Jeff Wright, you got to be prepared for that. Steve McDonald has picked up some damage. Chad Klinger losing a little bit more time this lap. As still had a few instances here and there. Steve McDonald looked like he went completely under Brett Bieber. You can barely tell there's not even a scratch on the 808 after that. He got rammed into in the hairpin after he locked it up. Steve McDonald got the worst of that one. You can see the front end of that nose. It's pretty punched in.
Yeah, we're going to look at it from the back of Eddie Trejo. Not the best angle in the world. There's a better look at it. Yeah, the grill on that's pushed in, and overheating issues. That could be another factor. These cars not as, I guess the inlets aren't the same size as something like a B car, but still it is a possibility that these cars will overheat.
Especially when you're shifting a bunch, getting high on the rev limiter. Definitely something those drivers with front end damage are going to have to pay attention to. Guys at the front aren't going to have to worry about that as long as you don't get into the back of someone. It's very important to keep your nose clean at a track like this because aero's still going to matter even in the slower corners.
B-Speed 2 popping into the channel. Yes, what a field. 23 cars going around Sonoma. Rest in peace, my graphics card.
Hate to see it.
No sweat here. Computer's sweating, Jeff Wright's not. He pulled away from Chad Klinger, and he must have made a mistake because it's 1.7 seconds now. We were just talking about it being under a second a moment ago.
Yeah, it was very recently under a second. Not sure if he made a mistake or it's just Jeff Wright being that much smoother with the tires aging. We know how long it doesn't take. It really doesn't take that long for these Gen 4 tires on the Gen 4 cars to wear. It could just be another case of Jeff Wright managing them better. Klinger was much slower the lap before this one. Only a 10th off of Jeff Wright this time by, but the time before it was a full second. So mistakes were definitely maybe made. I think that's just part of the 48 just doing a much better job being consistent and smooth.
Here we come through turn 3. Bravado back here. He's falling back to the clutches of Ryan Carlisle. Otto said that he was in the mindset of it's going to be tough to do, but here he is struggling with the top 5. Now locking up the right rear a little bit. The 81 of Carlisle is going to look to the inside, and I look to see Carlisle probably push for this 4th position through the hairpin turn.
Definitely a position you probably want to make it before the stage break, so we'll see how aggressive Carlisle wants to be. Kind of came out of nowhere last week. Was pretty fast all race long, but all of a sudden everyone started stacking up at the front. Ended up passing almost all of them. Probably didn't get the finish he could have gotten, and still got a decent finish. And we'll see how aggressive he wants to be on the 33 here, as Stravado's been locking up a few times per lap as of late, as he has a big slide out of a hairpin, really struggling.
Michael Kostick, he's back here with the 73 of Joseph McWhorter, who went off track there earlier in this race. McWhorter racing his way back up to the 7th position, about where he started. But everybody knows we have the stage breaks, so that will help him recover. And if this 73 is as fast as it was last week, I look to see him up in the top 5, competing with Stravado, Langton, Klinger. Those guys just made it a little bit harder than it needed to be on lap 1.
He lost a lot of time in doing that too, because how much he wanted to slow down. He's now about 5 seconds behind where Stravado is right now, as he's still got to fight to get by the 1. As he's going to have a look, there's one of the prime passing zones, thinks better of it, into turn 7. Nothing doing there, just sits in line. It's so frustrating at a track like this where the passing zones are really at completely different ends of the track. You have turn 7 there, and then you have to wait all the way until turn 11 to get to the hairpin and have another chance at a pass, because you don't want to pass through these the S's here. It's just not a possible situation, so you have to wait a long
some
time.
guys ever shoot it here, and you can maybe get to their inside, but it's rare. Here's the mistake here that the 73 was waiting on. The Caustic's going to move out of the way. That was pretty generous there.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
No, a crossover. Well done.
That was great. 73 sent it in there thinking he was going to get it. Now it looks like Caustic's going to back out. I think he thought, oh, I could get the spot back. But he didn't clear the 73 on exit. He's like, yeah, I don't feel like going side by side here. So he'll end up giving that spot up. 73 back in to the top 6.
Now, Caleb Weekly, he's fallen all the way back to 20th. I'm not sure if he went off track here.
Well, he had the incident.
Earlier. Yeah, he's lost a couple more spots since we last talked about him. I have to say the 13, he was looking decent in practice. He put a lot of laps in. He was pretty consistent. Seems like the race jitters, they take over. So coming up on lap 10, this will be the final lap before the stage break, and the yellow flag falls a little bit early here.
This is our stage break, though. They did say it was going to be around there, so there it is.
Around positions are frozen, so no reason to pass anyone, and Jeff Wright will lead going into the stage break. Now what do? Connor, I know that guys talked about the fuel strategy, that you could go 25 laps. Do you stop for tires? I know these things are worn out. I know that half this field's going to choose to do that.
Well, Jeff Wright was already 1.3 seconds off his best time in this race session. So, yeah, you could stay out, most likely get track position, pit maybe earlier than the leaders and see how it goes. But I just don't know if that's really going to gain you. It depends where you are, really. I just don't know if that's going to help you enough for you to get a good finish. Someone like Eddie Trejo in 18th, if he did that, I'm just not sure. I think it would make sense for him. He might still be able to do better than where he is now in 18th. But someone like Stravato or Carwow to do it, I don't think there's enough to gain there. So I think really at the front, your only choice is to pit. Guys at the back, they might consider staying out, but even still, I don't see it being that good of an option as Jeff Wright gets picked up by the pace car here in the S's.
I wanted to show you, Sean Langton, third place runner, has a lot of left front damage on that 7 car, and this is bad news for him. If he got that late in that first stage, now he has an entire field right up on his bumper. If he's lost any speed with this 7 car, it's going to be tough to stay in that top 5.
And that's funny. Looking back at it, he got loose under braking into 7 and slammed the wall on his left entering 7, and he slammed it hard. You could see the left front tire completely exposed, so he's got 2 choices to make here. He can either repair that damage here and lose track position, or just have to run it the way it is to the end here and just hope you don't lose that much track position as the entire top 10 pits, as 11th on back still catching up.
So here we go. Pit stops. We kind of talked about the tires, how important they are. Apparently they're pretty important to these teams as well. The 7 car going to come down here and get some damage fixed, but Jeff Wright going to hit that pit box with the entire field following suit. I know the rest of the field back there, 11th on back, Ray Massey, and those guys coming in. Eddie Smith hits his stall as well.
It's like no one's going to take a chance here. Everyone on track looking to pit.
Down and away for the 48 of Jeff Wright.
Langton did not repair that damage, so he'll still get out third, but with a lot of better equipped cars still in the field, Stravato, McWhorter, Carwow, Kostek, and everyone else who was behind the pace car a bit, now getting in and out of their stalls. Ray Massey's going to lead what I would call a second pack out. Then Andy Kurtz, Justin Ritchie, Taylor Butcher Benjamin with also left front damage as well.
What a jump and a gap that they had, that they weren't even able to catch back up to the pack after pacing. They went around this whole track for an entire lap almost under yellow. So that just shows you how far away the top 10 was from Ray Massey. And they're still trying to get caught up. Joseph McWhorter in the 10th position. Ray Massey just now coming out of turn 7. Let's see where that turn 7 wall will sneak up on you.
Pace car is all the way in 11, so pace car might be giving Jeff Wright a run for his money because the 48's not even up there quite yet, as now we'll see the 48 finally getting up there, but it's still a long way to go for a lot of drivers, because we should be getting 1 to green this time by, as we do still have drivers exiting the pits. Charles Phelps, Brett Bieber, who were pretty far behind because they had been having a number of off-track incidents. We'll see if Phelps will go a lap down. Bieber will have a long way to go to get back around.
And now caught up to the pace car for the 48 of Jeff Wright. Lights are out and single file, I do believe, for this restart. Maybe not. Looks like the 09's getting to his outside, so double file. Don't see that too often at road courses.
Nah, but I think it's better for if you do have restarts. You don't see it because A lot of times you won't have yellows, it's really league dependent. But yeah, we'll have double file here. We'll see what happens when we come back up the hill. 48 was able to maintain last time. We'll see if Klinger has a chance to do anything different.
McWhorter caught for speeding in pits. Someone in chat dropped that on us. I can't confirm that. He's still in the 10th position, so
Yes,
gonna have to serve under green.
Yeah, we'll have to see because we're going to get a delay here because obviously the field's still catching up. So still on 2 to green. We'll get 1 to green. But yeah, he does have a penalty. And the reason he's not letting it go by because the field is still catching up.
McWhorter confirmed on 73 pit. Speeding on exit of pits. Prime opportunity here. Get that ticker out of the way and talk about Saturday Night Racing League. They are 4 races into the season. The last race here in the West Coast Swing. We've done Daytona. We've done Fontana at Auto Club, a track that NASCAR decided wasn't worth the schedule, and I personally don't agree with that. And we were at Las Vegas here at Sonoma Raceway. And Connor, it's been great. We've picked up right where we left off with the great racing. Seems like every week there's somebody else trying to chase that 48 car down.
Yes, but the one constant is that the 48 is having to be chased down. It's at least 3 weeks in a row we've seen this. Might have a different vibe once we come away from the West Coast. We're going to Bristol for 200 laps in a week, so it's going to be a completely different dynamic for a short track race of the season. Every track's been 1.5 miles or bigger. Again, completely different down in Bristol, Tennessee.
One of the few tracks I've been to in person, and Bristol just always puts on a good show, no matter if it's the virtual Bristol, in real life, if it's got dirt on it, you take your pick.
Oh. We had a crash under yellow. Eddie Smith came back down pit road, and he is destroyed.
Let's see if we can find out where that 11 car got that damage.
We'll see right here, catching up to the pace car, everyone else is. Wow.
Free on him.
And a huge hit in that tire barrier. That was race ending type of hit there. It completely sheared the front end of that car out from under it. See what happens here. Just cracks sideways and it's over at that point. Wow, really odd.
So the 11 not going to make it up into the booth tonight. Unfortunately, race ends under caution for him. Smith's going to take it behind the wall in 22nd position. Jeff Wright, everybody caught back up. We're coming up on the hairpin. Pace car pulling off that left hand. The 09 of Chad Klinger is going to try to figure out a way to hang with him. Here we go. The second time tonight after the stage break, the 48 of Jeff Wright, the 09 of Chad Klinger, AJ Stravato, Sean Langton with that little bit of damage. And we're green back racing at Sonoma.
Whoa, Wright's off track, way off track. He was
48 car. Oh no, he loses it completely into the dirt, and he's going to lose 10 positions here.
You know what that is? He was trying to clear McWhorter's black flag because he couldn't let everyone by, and he had to focus on being an admin instead of racing, and he goes way off track and loses so much track position. That changes everything.
Back to 10th spot for him. He's going to have to race his way back through the field, but that gives the lead to the 09 of Chad Klinger. And now there's blood in the water. Look at the Sharks circling behind him.
Yeah, now things get real at the front. Everyone thought, all right, 48's going to run away. You know, ho-hum. Okay, he made a mistake. Go get the lead. Chad Klinger got it. Now Stravado's thinking, okay, wait, I should go get the lead. And now Sean Langton, Carwell, all these guys are going to be frothing at the mouth for a chance to lead this thing before Jeff Wright gets back up there.
You know Jeff's capable of doing it, but he's got a lot of work to do. Jonathan Smith in front of him in the 8th position. One car at a time. He's got the time. These guys are going to make it very tough. They know the 48 car is fast. The 72 now side by side out of the hairpin. Jeff not able to get the run off. The 72 has the preferred line. A little blank there for the 48. If he gets around him on the outside, well done there for Jeff. Now up to the 8th position. James Loveland would be the next victim.
So got a ways to go, though.
Oh, plenty of time here for Jeff to get back up to the front, but let's see how many laps Chad Klinger can lead. He pulls away 1.6 seconds over AJ Stravato. He's able to run his line, and he's putting up 1.7s here. He didn't do that in qualifying. So for a 1 minute 17.5, Chad Klinger's putting on the heat.
Well, he knows he has to put a gap out now. This is a big opportunity to have this much ground over the 48, so he's going to try to make his gap to 33 and the 48 as big as possible. This is where you try to gain as much time, especially when Wright's been kind of held up by James Loveland a little bit here. He hasn't had opportunity to make the pass yet. He likely will into 11, but we'll have to see how big of a gap the 09 can make in time. Also got to look at the process of McWhorter, back up to 13th as looking at Jeff Wright. Now he's going to the inside of Loveland. He's going to make that pass easily.
McWhorter, who got the black flag for speeding, all the way back up to 12th this quickly.
Brett Bieber stopped. Where is he stopped? He stopped top of the S's.
808.
Oh, Stravato just got turned by Langton. Oh my.
Oh, it's that effect you talked about with the nose of these cars.
And Stravato comes over the radio saying, I appreciate that and I'll remember that. So we'll have to look at that, but definitely looked like Stravato got slowed up at the top of the hill, and the 7 of Langton did not react in time, and that's gonna kill Stravato's chances. It seems like anytime he's got speed, the race he cannot close the deal, even when whether it's his fault or not. He has not been able to put a complete race together yet.
He just needs to catch a break. It's one thing after another, and these cars are so unforgiving with all the power and the brakes on them. You've got the power of a Bugatti and the brakes of a Ford Ranger. It's just almost impossible sometimes to find that balance. But here it is. Chad Klinger has found the balance, takes over the lead on lap 13, has not looked back since.
And that's
And
big,
on lap
too.
17.
That was a big moment, too.
I mean, if you want to benchmark or put anything highlight worthy, the 48 car going off track has probably been the biggest story that we've had, because it's unheard of here for the 48 team.
Once again, it's just multitasking at a road course. It is not something you can do, so it's unfortunate he had to clear someone's black flags, and I'm pretty sure that's what distracted him. But I'm sure Jeff Wright will tell you no excuses. He should have made the corner anyways, and in parts he might be right. That's a corner he makes 99 times out of 100, and that was that 100th time he didn't make it. So he's by Jonathan Cofield now. Jonathan Smith goes way wide in 7, but he keeps it clean. McWhorter gets another position, but he's got to kind of put that out the window, Jeff Wright does. He just has to focus on. He's still got over half a race left to make this happen, and he's already back into the top 5.
Don Langton with all that damage trying to hold on over Ryan Carwile. Carwile dips to the inside, going to position number 2. That angle there, they're so tight on those tires now side by side as they come across the start-finish line. This is where Jeff got a lot of his positions. He's actually making a pass simultaneously right behind. He gets his pass done, but Carwile not able to clear the 7, and now they go up the hill. He's still to the inside.
And Jeff Wright's going to love this because he's going to come up on both of them up the hill here, as neither of these drivers giving it absolute inch here as Carwile goes wide. You cannot go side by side this long, but they've done it. And look, Jeff Wright's already there. Now he's going to have to be really patient as the 7 goes wide.
Langton off track just a little bit there. Now he's going to lose the position to 4th. Right now to the inside in turn 8. Probably going to pick up this spot, but how long did those guys race? 6, 7 corners side by side? Jeff Wright just loved it.
I've never seen side by side up that part of the track and not end in catastrophe. In fact, we saw it end in catastrophe a lap ago, so really well done by the 81 and the 7 to keep it clean. I've never seen 2x2 on the front straightaway at Sonoma, but we saw it there as Wright also passed Kostek there. And the 48 just like that, back into the top 3.
Coming into the hairpin, you can see the 09 of Chad Klinger with his lead of 8 seconds over Carlisle. Jeff Wright in the third spot trying to go back and claim what he believes is rightfully his. It's been a change of pace here at Sonoma. We might have another first-time winner on our hands. 19 laps in.
We'll have to wait and see, but that's how important track position is. When you're all alone, you can put all the time on the field you want. 8 seconds. It's really up to 10 seconds now over the 81. Jeff Wright, Chad Klinger was never in that position. He was a second and a half back at most on the first run. But now Jeff Wright's got to make up 10 seconds in 20 laps. Not impossible. It's Jeff Wright, but that is a lot of time to make up.
Langton won't make a mistake. Garrett Helmlinger in chat. Well, he's made 2 tonight. He got into the 33 of Stravato. He also face planted the wall and turned 7, so he's made a couple of mistakes. But he's still maintaining the top 5, currently in the 4th position. Started 3rd, but that car is just a little off now with that damage.
Definitely not as fast as he was before the incident, but still able to maintain top 5, as he's got a pretty decent gap over Michael Kostek, who's settled into the 5th position as 48. As Max Kost, we're looking back here.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at Max Kost. He started in the 26th position. He didn't elect to take a qualifying lap. He's all the way up to 17th now. He's right behind Steve McDonald. They're 16th. So kudos to the 63 team. I believe they might be the biggest movers in this race.
Definitely one of them, right? Massey's won 18th and 9th, so he's also one of the big movers. So I believe Ray Massey's actually the biggest mover up into the top 10 through all this. But I think Koss is the second biggest mover. The one person who's probably the biggest mover from the restart is Joseph McWhorter. He's now up to 7th position in turn 11, past Jonathan Cofield. Now sets his sights on James Loveland.
Yeah, McWhorter starting all the way in the back of the field. That's why we say track position's king. He's fallen 14 seconds back from Chad Klinger. It's an eternity to make up. Plenty of time to do it, get back in that top 3, but I believe Jeff Wright and Chad Klinger are going to be gone by the time he gets up there.
Well, Jeff Wright certainly will be gone in a little bit. He just got by Ryan Carlisle, and he was able to do it at the top of turn number 2. 81 did not get a good run. The 48 took advantage in a non-passing zone, really made it work. And now it's time to go to work for Jeff Wright, because he's got a lot of ground to make up, a lot of time between him and his 09.
9.7 seconds as they go through the hairpin turn. Just to put that in perspective, we'll ride on board with Chad Klinger, who's coming up to the top of the hill now. Let's just that lead out a little bit more. Now to 10 seconds.
But as far the overall lap, Wright was maybe 0.2 faster, which is good. But probably need a little bit more, and also that has to be consistent time made up. Chad Klinger doesn't go off track at all. It's going to be hard to catch that 09 regardless of what the 48 does, because they look pretty evenly matched when they both hit their marks.
Best lap time, Chad Klinger actually beats Jeff Wright by 1/10 of a second. Last time by Jeff Wright, about a 2/10 gap separating those two. It's going to be tight. I tell you what, Jeff has been super consistent. But that one little mistake, he's going to go back and replay that in his head 100 times if he doesn't win here tonight.
He's going to never be an on-track admin again, that's for sure. If it comes down to that, as I'm sure if we get to talk to him tonight, it'll definitely be a topic of conversation, regardless of who gets to talk to him. Cross my fingers, it's second for me. Yeah, that's literally we talked about. It's very uncharacteristic. Not something I've ever seen him do here.
33 McWhorter in the 6th position, now going to work on Michael Kostek.
Oh, Stravato in the S's, he just had an off track, and he's still off track, and that's the IndyCar layout he's going. Let's see, how is he going to rejoin here? Oh, it goes straight here. Watch out. Look out for that was Travis Bieber, who was trying to blend in with.
Go back and take a look at that. He hits the,
Really
that
hot
rumble
curve.
strip. Threw him right off track.
That went a lot better than I thought it would have going off there. That could have been race ending for him. He's able to recover, but he does lose more position, more time on track, but he does get the spot back from Travis Bieber as we go back live. Got it back almost immediately in 11.
Justin Ritchie in the 55 goes off course there for a split second. up at the top of the hill. He's at 13th. 55 team with a little bit of left side damage, and there's so many places that these guys could have picked up that damage. I would say turn 7 is the most common one, but it's very easy to hit the wall through here where you see Chad Klinger coming through. You can cut this a little short and trim this wall. That's not hard to do either.
Yeah, it's not hard to do whatsoever. It's actually interesting looking at the replay. It looks like that might have been Justin Ritchie. He might have had an incident under yellow himself, and that was really up at the top, maybe turn 3A. So he's able to at least recover, at least keep the car out of the barriers this time. But back to 13th, that gives Caleb Weekly a position as we're starting to see that gap from Klinger to right go down as we have pit stops pretty early. Jonathan Cofield comes down from 9th.
Jonathan Smith in there as well. And the two Jonathans going to hit pit road on lap 23. And this is about where you could make it. You can make it on fuel pretty easily. Some of these guys thinking tires are just so important. They're going to go make up the time on the track. It's going to be interesting to see if this short pit does work out. I mean, if you're back here out of the top 10, this could be the difference between the top 10 and finishing just outside of it.
Very possible. Could get you some spots if you're back there, as it's like Travis Bieber also came in, who was racing with Travado. As I was going to mention, we'll see when the leaders want to come down. I don't expect to see any of them this time. Right passes by. Carwell, Langton, Kostek, McWhorter, they all stay out. Speaking of McWhorter, he's about to have a battle with Michael Kostek on his hands. But I was talking about how the gap from right to Klinger is coming down a little bit. Last time by the times, it was another second taken out of that lead. So the 48 is on a charge.
Yeah, 19.6 compared to an 18.6. That lead is coming down 7.5 seconds. We were talking it was over 9 just a few laps ago. So, when do you pit? 09? He's going to have to do it. When's the right time? You don't want to short pit Jeff Wright too much, but you also don't want him to sneak into pit road behind you and run 2 or 3 laps a second and a half faster than you are.
There's kind of nothing you really can do. I don't think the answer for him is to undercut the 48. He's got to pit after him as long as he's got the chance to. He's got to be looking at a scenario that's literally just him and Jeff Wright. So I say he has enough time between them right now where Jeff can pit and he can respond 2 laps later. So the only chance, if the gap stays the same, if it keeps coming down at the same rate where the 48's still a second faster per lap, he needs to have the tire advantage to the end.
Another full second that lap, that time by. Now this one, we'll chalk it up to 0.5 of a second, but still that's impressive. Jeff Wright just on point here lap after lap. Ryan Carwile holding solid in 3rd position, has the 04 of Travis Bieber, who just come off of pit road in front of him. Sean Langton with that left side damage holding strong in 4th, and Michael Kostek, who's been, I don't know. I'm surprised there's still stickers on the back of this car because Joseph McWhorter has been all over it.
He has been all over it. Ooh, I'm off track in front of him. That was Travis Bieber off to the side. No damage seemingly done as he gets, fortunately, out of the top 4 through 6's way, but that might open the door for the 73 to have a look into 7.
It does, and now Kostek falls back to the 6th position. McWhorter in the top 5. Klinger's going around. This could be an opportunity here for Jeff Wright to hit pit road, and there comes Klinger.
See what the 48 does here.
Oh, man, was Klinger coming in hot.
And Jeff's going to stay out and do the overcut. I really think with the way the times are looking right now, Wright was only 0.4 faster last time. The way it was looking, I feel like the best case scenario for Klinger would have been to have fresher tires, as a lot of the leaders come down this time. Langton's in, Kostek's in, and Loveland's in as well. I thought he would have wanted fresher tires to the end, but he's going to take the undercut.
Interested to see because Klinger came into pit road so fast. We're going to back and look at this on the instant replay.
Timing doesn't start until right there. Does not start right here, luckily, because you can push all this best you can.
It's tight. That
He's
was
out.
tight.
It was, but he's out immediately, so no speeding there. He's out and away, and decently clean air. He'll have Ray Massey up ahead as he's gonna try to put his best outlap he can.
That's incredible. Klinger comes in, and then everybody follows suit. The 7, the 13. All these guys hit pit road. AJ Stravado is going to stay out and pick up to the 7th position. Klinger comes back out in 5th. He didn't really lose any ground position-wise.
The only people ahead of him are everyone who has stayed out, right? Carwell, McWhorter, and then Ray Massey, who I believe is up to 4th now. And then you get the Klinger, who's going to have to make quick work of Ray Massey. He cannot get held up behind slower traffic like Mark McFadden and Ray Massey here. He has to get by him really anywhere on track where he catches him. He cannot lose time on an outlap like this as every one of the rest of the leaders comes in, right? Carwell, McWhorter, all in.
Down pit lane here for the 48 team. They were about 4 or 5 seconds back from the 09. They're going to have 1 lap fresher tires as well. They were already shaving off time. The 48 hits his stall. Right sides go up on the 48 and 81. Carlisle, McWhorter.
There goes Klinger by. Just saw him on the left of your screen, so obviously keeps the lead. We'll see how big the gap is once the 48's out, as Ray Massey did stay out, so there will be a car between them for the time being. 48's out, Carwell's coming out, then McWhorter.
It looks about 7 seconds here. We bring our ticker back up. Ray Massey still out on track with 16 laps on those tires. You can't really pray for a caution when they're not turned on. Massey's going to have to hit pit road and lose this track position. 23 team trying to make the best of this situation. They've stayed out the longest than anyone else on the field. Let's see if it pays off with tires.
We have a battle out of pit lane 2. Langton and McWhorter right next to one another coming into 7, so this will be probably the hottest battle on track for the time being, but they're also coming up right behind Caleb Weekly, who doesn't have tires.
13 still out there on track, 16 laps on his tires as well, and it's not so much that he's in the way right now. There's just nowhere to pass through the S's.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go, so nothing. Langton can't help it, Weekly can't help it. This is just what happens at Sonoma as McWhorter almost into the back of the 7.
The
Weekly's
13.
off.
13
Just
off track.
Look out, as I would be surprised. Yep, that is exactly what I expected after going off track like that. Weekly just immediately comes in and says, okay, I'm done with these tires.
It's pit road right away.
That lets McWhorter get by Langton there.
Jeff Wright working his way around Ray Massey here for the 2nd position. Chad Klinger 6.1 seconds ahead of him. We're pretty much cycled through. Ray Massey, the last guy on track. Caleb Weekly hits pit road. Justin Ritchie is one of the cars that's still out there. And he's being scored in the 10th position currently.
Again with that left front damage, but we'll have to see. Once again, they do still have to pit. We'll see where they cycle out at the end of it, as Caleb Weekly just now coming out of their stall as Stravado goes by, so that's a position for the 33 potentially.
Stravado with these, he's got 1 or 2 laps on these tires. I think he'll be okay. He's got the 05 of Andy Kurtz in front of him. I think Stravado, if this is clean for the rest of the race, can work his way back into the top 10. He's got some sizable gaps here, but totaling out, he could catch up to the 55 of Justin Ritchie, who still has to hit pit road. So it would probably be Jonathan Smith that he'll need to chase down, who is only about 7-8 seconds ahead of him. Not a big gap there.
Not really, and I think as long as there's not too much damage with the steering for AJ, he can make that up as he'll go to the right of Kurtz here. Shouldn't be too much of a battle. As 33's on by the number 8/05. Gets that position done. Also, Ray Massey, looking at him, he was 9th before stops. He just came out of pit road, just ahead of these guys by a few seconds, so likely not a position they can get from the 23.
We'll have to see. 23's been good, and not that long on those old tires shows you that he has the discipline to get around this place. He'll be a tough battle as well. Moving through a little bit more, James Loveland. Good to see the 56 having a solid day. Started in 8th. He's maintained. He's in 7th position. In the closing laps of this race, he's trying to catch Michael Kostick in the 6th position, right in front of him. Really, this kind of a cluster of cars between Sean Langton, who was battling with McWhorter a moment ago. These guys all kind of within a couple seconds of each other. Back to Loveland. Looking for some passes. Trejo's going to go by Bieber there in the 04. As they come off of turn 7. Ray Massey. For some reason, timing and scoring is throwing okay, so that's Justin Ritchie who's hit pit road finally. That's where it was. I was seeing some flashes. We found it. The 55 has had enough. 18 laps on his tires, further than anyone else in the field. Taylor Butcher Benjamin will be the second closest to that with 11. He must have pitted before really anybody else.
Yeah, didn't even really pay attention to his cycle, but yes, he did pit around lap 19, so going to be a bit of a stretch on fuel, I would think, to the end, but clearly confident that they can make it there. Going to stick in 11th for the time being, as Travado's chasing him down rather quickly.
Oh, yeah, about that.
Whoa, what happened here? There is damage to the front of that 09. We missed something.
Might have to go back and take a look, but for now, let's keep it right here because there's about to be a change for the lead. The 09 must have went off track or got into some lap traffic. Something happened here that put Chad Klinger in a bad spot.
We'll see how hard he wants to defend. There is serious damage to the front. He got into someone, I think. This is not wall damage, as I think Jeff Wright's trying to be courteous as he can, trying not to move him unintentionally. This is under 10 to go now, so this is really crunch time. I'm sure Klinger wished he had those extra 6 seconds that he had. We have to see how it happened, but he went from being somewhat comfortable, just stay on track and all that, now he has to defend for his life.
We'll go back and see if we can find that in just a moment. But right now, as it sits, less than a half a second gap between the 09 and the 48, who have been matching lap times, and now a battle for the lead as maybe they go through another cycle. Klinger's doing a great job holding on to it. He's doing a really good job with defending the exits of these corners and these passing zones.
That's all he can do at this point. Just has to make Jeff Wright work for it. He cannot give him the preferred passing lane. He has to make him go around the outside of all these corners, make him go very narrow, make him shallow, crossovers, all of that. Chad Klinger's got to pull out all the stops if he wants to win this. Also got to manage lap traffic better than he might have earlier. See McDonald out of the way. Wright closes in hard before the entry to 7 here. Not close enough for a dive as someone was off, but didn't see who it was.
Now right up on the bumper. Thought maybe there was going to be a touch there, and now into the S's. Klinger stretches it back out to almost half a second. This is really Klinger's part of the track where he could run away. It's the hairpins and the hills that he seems to give it all back to Jeff.
Right here is where he gives it all back, just not as good into 10, now into 11. We'll see if Wright has a look. Klinger not willing to protect the lane, but Wright wasn't willing to go for the lane as he
Lock it up a little bit.
Sticks on the bumper of the 09, but not quite there.
I wanted a bumper camera from Klinger's view because I believe Klinger locked it up as well. They both smoked the tires going into turn 11.
Oh, Ryan Carwell's happy about this because it could, depending on what happens, it could bring him into this. We'll have to see, but these two battling very hard right now, but also battling very cleanly. No contact as of late.
Say up through the hills, he stretches it back out. Jeff Wright's timing and scoring blinking out a little bit there, but half a second as they come into turn 7.
You see,
That's shrinking down.
it has definitely a little bit, and It's kind of surprising right now looking at these top two as Carwell does close in on them a little bit. It's surprising to me, these two. It just seems like Jeff Wright got to him, immediately had looks to the inside, trying to pass. In the last few laps, he hasn't been close enough in the passing zones to really do anything.
Well, let's take an opportunity here, see if we can go back and look at what happened to the 09. I say that, and
I don't
right
know.
here.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Let's see if we can hold on for one
Here we
more
go.
lap there. There it is.
Oh, I'm surprised he gave him the bottom. Wright needs to power up here. Klinger's going to try to stick it to the inside, but Wright got sideways. Klinger's got the drive off to maybe clear him back. That was important.
Just enough drive off, and Jeff Wright spins the tires on the exit of turn 11. Klinger lives to fight another day. Oh, he's
maybe not.
sideways.
It's going to open the door up for Wright to make this pass again. He really braked early. The 48's back to the front.
Our third change for the lead. Jeff Wright looks like he might just run away with it here. The 09 of Chad Klinger in a solid position to come home in second, but you know that's not what he wanted. Let's see if we can go back and find what happened to the 09 team.
Seemed like it happened on lap number 30, whatever happened. Is all of a sudden, we looked, it was 6 seconds, like, all right, we'll see if he gets there. And all of a sudden, 48's on the back bumper.
We're looking here. It doesn't have damage in this part of the replay, so I'm going to assume that it happened somewhere on this hill.
Travis Bieber up ahead. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Klinger all over the bumper here. Then up the hill he goes, still on the bumper. And there it is.
That's what happened. That's what gave him the front end damage, too.
Yeah, and there comes Jeff Wright with a head of steam. And he almost made the pass here. Didn't even see the side-by-side there. Klinger gave him nothing. Pushed him onto a curb. That is one way. Also, Travis Bieber wrecked hard even after the fact of that. He's destroyed in the pits. But obviously that was what completely derailed Chad Klinger's bid at a potential win here.
Mike Carwile's got it down to about 6 seconds of a gap. Trying to chase down Chad Klinger, and this doesn't look like it has enough time with only about 5 to go. Jeff Wright now coming into the hairpin to take that 5 to go. Carwile, unless he's going to be a second faster, and I don't see it. Of course, last time by, he was pretty close.
Was closing in when they were battling. Battle subsided. They're both kind of running their own races at this point. It's going to be hard to make that time up for Carwell in the short amount of time. Wright runs a 1:18.8, Klinger a 1:19.6, and Carwell this time by runs a 1:19.2, which is only about half a second maybe faster than the 09. It's going to take more than that to get there. Also, he's going to have to pay attention to McWhorter as well. That battle is not subsided either. Joseph McWhorter is not too far behind the 81 for that podium position.
Yes, and McWhorter, who got the break there with the stage break, going off track early on. The speeding penalty.
At the break, which is at least it happened not under green for him, obviously.
It's just been a tough day here for the 73 team, and they've overcome so much here. To come back and possibly have a podium, that shows you that there was a lot of speed here for the 73 McWhorter. And he's even made it better than his qualifying tonight. Started in 6th. Can he get up there and finish 3rd? Jeff Wright, 2.7 seconds as they approach the 4 to go marker. Taking these lap times away.
Even in, which is a somewhat short race, we still have comers. We have everything. We have comers, we have goers, we got guys who have been up there nearly the entire time. Obviously, Jeff Wright went back after his off, but got back to the front. Chad Klinger has been at the top 2 the entire race, although he's had his ups and downs with lap traffic. Carwell's really been the one constant. He's been top 5 all night long. Then you get McWhorter, who's been up the order, then down the order, then back up the order. Langton's been in top 5, but he's had his controversy all race along. The contact with Stravato is definitely something we'll have to watch in the coming weeks. Speaking of Stravato, another driver who's been up and down, up at the front.
Look what I said. Back up in the top 10, salvaging the day for the 33.
That's right. Into the top 10, past Jonathan Smith a number of laps ago, I believe, trying to chase down Ray Massey faster than the time before, but doesn't look like a gap that will get closed up without potential conflict. And also, Jonathan Cofield. Haven't really talked about him a lot. Quiet night for him. Solidly an 8th.
Cofield, one of the first guys to pit on that strategy. He came in with the 09 of Chad Klinger. James Loveland as well. 56 and 58. They've looked solid. Great races here for these guys today. 7th and 8th position, respectively. Ray Massey, even after staying out longer than everyone else, he's going to bring it home maybe in 9th position. He's got AJ Stravato chasing him down. I don't think there's going to be enough time as we have 3 laps to go. Jeff Wright coming up the hill now into turns 5 and 6. Looking solid all race. Able to recover from going off track all the way back to the 10th position. And for the final 2 times around Sonoma, you know Jeff wanted this one bad. What do we got?
McWhorter just had contact with, looks like he's not going to get the car. He had contact with Justin Ritchie up the hill, so now 73 is going to have damage. I thought it was going to be more dramatic because McWhorter got on the radio just like, come on, but he'll at least be able to keep his position, it looks like. Obviously with a lot more damage than he wanted to the end of this one, as we'll see what happened.
They were going into 5 and 6, it looks like, through these S's, and then just before turn 6, the 55 went off track.
Oh, and then he comes back on in front of McWhorter. I'm sure it definitely looked like he was trying to get out of the way and just hook a right just to get off track, but wasn't able to do it in time. But obviously I see McWhorter's frustration, but at the very least, he's able to hold on to his position and not be taken out completely.
We've had everything. These guys up here in the top 5 have had to battle with not just track position, but lap cars, going off track, situations with pit stops, the stage break, the 900 horsepower. Didn't talk too much about that. These guys have made it look pretty clean. But it's a handful. Every single lap, these tires start to wear out. Jeff Wright has done it better than anyone else here tonight. 5.6 seconds over Chad Klinger as he comes through the S's to take the white flag through the hairpin will be the next turn.
We're at the point where with the pit stop and how long this run's been, we're at the point where it's gotten really spread out, not too many battles. Closest battle on track looks to be Steven McDonald and Eddie Trejo, and they're a lap down. That's for 16th, but Trejo's been closing in as he's been closing in on McDonald as the 48 closes in on the white flag.
One more time around for Jeff Wright. Back here to Chad Klinger, who's coming to get the white flag now. Ryan Carwile, who's caught up to the 09, but probably not going to have enough time. Chad Klinger's just got to be clean through the uphill S's. Joseph McWhorter, that unfortunate front-end collision with the 55 of Justin Ritchie, probably has it locked up in 4th and 5th spot as they come across for the white flag. Sean Langton, with that left side damage, able to hold on over Michael Kostick for the top 5.
And then all the way back to a little bit further behind Kostick. Kostick's also on his own. James Loveland, another quiet day for him. He's 7th. He's also passing Justin Ritchie right now. Team McDonald, Eddie Trejo, the battle's right behind him. All the way back to the start-finish line. Cofield in 8th place just took that white flag. And then Ray Massey after him. And AJ Stravato rounding out the top 10 for the time being, coming to the line now. 10th place coming to the line now. Jeff Wright, probably the most dramatic Sonoma race he's ever had as he's come through the hairpin for the final time.
Off the exit one last time. Jeff Wright keeping the power on the track all night long. And he's going to go 3 in a row and dub the crown to Jeff Wright at Sonoma, the West Coast Swing trifecta. Excellent job here for the 48 team to recover and come back through all the adversity, all the things that this road course can throw at you. Jeff Wright comes out on top.
We're still going to have drivers finishing up for a while, but like we said, really no one's in a battle and on the lead lap right now. So Jeff Wright, what can you say? That is why he's the king. As Carwell finishes third, Ray Massey still coming through. He's all the way back in ninth. Shabato's a little bit behind him, but the quiet run, biggest mover for Massey, definitely 18th to 9th. He got the 9th, kind of stayed there as Shabato is going to be wiggling into the final hairpin, and I'm sure he's got trying to look for the 7 after the race, I'm sure, but should be fortunate to get away with the top 10 as still 3 more drivers after this on the lead lap. Jonathan Smith and Taylor Butcher Benjamin, they're actually closer than I thought. They're coming to the line, a little bit of a drag race here.
And a little bobble there for the 10. Who's going to get it?
Oh.
It looked like the 72 just by inches. 1/100th of a second at the line.
Barely got it there, and Weekly cross line 13th, which everyone's finished up now, and now we can focus on the race winner. Not only the race winner, but the West Coast winner as we look at that finish for the 11th position again, which was very close. Maybe a incident for Smith in the final corner, but he's able to keep the spot. But what can you say about the 48? I don't think anyone's ever even swept the West Coast Swing in real life, but Jeff Wright in a Gen 4 car is able to do it.
I know some Hendrick drivers that came close.
Oh yeah, there's been a few, but Jeff Wright made it look very, very easy.
Well, post-race interviews with your top 3. We're going to bring them up, catch up with everybody on pit road, and go down to Victory Lane. Saturday Night Racing League winner here tonight at Sonoma, Jeff Wright, getting it done in dominating fashion. This is V-Speed. We'll be back right after this.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6. Online World Championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Back here, Saturday Night Racing League, live at Sonoma Raceway, here on V-Speed. We're catching up with your third place finisher down on pit road. And we have Ryan Carlisle in the pits. Ryan, you got a copy? There he is. There's Ryan. Ryan, we talked about all the different scenarios, but you stayed pretty solid all night long, maintained that top 5, and then when it came crunch time after pit stops, you got to third and never looked back.
Yeah, it was. I got lucky that Sean and AJ got together. That got me a spot, and then I managed to get by Sean. But yeah, Joseph, he was catching me pretty hard until he got into the lap traffic. But it was a good night for sure.
It was solid all the way through. You weren't able to quite put it all together at Vegas, but you had a solid car there as well. And you've been really consistent at every track we've went to. We talked about it in the pre-race, how getting good at these road courses can make such a difference in points, and you being able to put up a podium here tonight proves that you're not somebody to just walk all over here in the points. Jeff Wright might have to look out.
Yeah, he had the field covered tonight for sure. But yeah, hopefully at other tracks we're able to keep up with him so he doesn't win every race.
Well, the West Coast swing has concluded. Jeff Wright sweeps it, but Ryan, congratulations on that third place finish. Do you have anyone you'd like to shout out and thank for tonight's performance?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. We appreciate it, Ryan, and thank you for your time, man.
Thanks.
81 car, third place finisher here tonight at Sonoma. Kept it shiny side up all race long and gets it done. Third place finisher. Now we're going down to pit road with another tough break here for another driver. Chad Klinger has Connor Horn standing next to him.
Yes, I do. I got Chad Klinger here, and obviously, definitely, I can imagine range of emotions for you, Chad. Obviously, it looked like you were maybe, for lack of a better word, the best of the rest, because obviously Jeff Wright's track record here at Sonoma, but you had the edge on him after his incident on the one and only restart of the race, and you beat him on the pit road, had a 6-second lead, and the things sort of unraveled there. What happened at the top of the hill with lap traffic?
I was coming up to him, try to make a move on him. Tried to get to his inside, actually. I just misjudged and ran straight in the back of him. And with these cars, you kind of lift his tires up, and then I just got loose after that. So it was not great circumstances.
Definitely bad circumstances, I would say. Fortunately, able to come up with a runner-up finish, which seemed like you were almost a lock for with the amount of pace you showed compared to the 48, and obviously the scoop and spin kind of ruined your chances at a win. Looking strong, 6 seconds ahead before the incident. And interestingly enough, I saw you beat the 48 the pit lane for the final set of pit stops. Was that something you planned to do, or were you maybe potentially wanting to go long and try to get fresher tires than him to the end?
I was trying to just split the stage essentially. So after that restart, I just planned on pitting in a certain lap, and I pit there. It was just a matter of who pit first, but yeah, I beat him pit road. I think I could have held him off, but he was a fast guy, and he was gonna catch me, I think.
Would have been a pretty fun battle to the end if you got there around 3 laps to go, but unfortunately, obviously wasn't the case. But still a solid run for you, Chad. 18 laps led. Appreciate your time. It's runner-up finish. Looking for better things. Do you have anyone to thank for this run?
Yeah, I'd like to actually thank Reggie, Brian, and Jeff for this league. We have created a great league so far. Um, I cannot say anything bad about it yet. We have so many great race car drivers here. I cannot wait for the rest of the season.
You won't have to wait for the rest of the season because we got another race next week. Going back to the East Coast, going to Bristol. We'll see you there, Chad. Good luck.
All right, thank you guys.
So second place finisher Chad Klinger, and now finally, without further ado, we bring Jeff Wright down here in victory lane. The West Coast swing all wrapped up, Jeff. You did it. The trifecta. I don't know if there's a trophy for that, but you got it done. And he had to overcome the off track. Can you explain what happened there on lap 11 or lap 13?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of embarrassing. Trying to be one of the co-league admins in here and try to, clear black flags. And I probably chose a really bad timing to do that. Who knows? Maybe I still would have went off track, but definitely overshot the corner, put myself in the dirt. And I was a little bit worried that we weren't going to be able to do it tonight. Obviously, this is a place I really like coming to, and I knew I just had to dial in, focus, and not make any more mistakes after that, and maybe have a chance for it. But when I saw Chad was 10 seconds or something ahead of me, I didn't know if that was going to be enough because he was really quick the first run too. I think I only pulled him a second and a half, so he was right there with me the whole time. So, the fact that we can sweep the whole West Coast swing, that's pretty cool. And now I guess we're looking off to Bristol. We go to a short track, so our first short track test of the season. And I know we got a lot of short track guys in here. Ray Massey, that's a hometown race for him, so we're going to be watching out for him for sure.
Well, Jeff, we saw the 09 of Klinger capitalize on that situation and stretch it out to over an 8-second lead, 9-second lead. Then pit stops happened. Were you surprised to see the 09 go in? He said that he was just kind of fixated that he was going to pit on that split. Did you have any kind of plan to work around that, or were you just committed to a lap as well?
Well, I really wasn't paying attention to that. I was I turned off my relative and I was just focused on trying to drive the track as hard as I could. But when I came around turn 11 and I saw Chad was on pit road already, I was like, oh no, I think I might be in trouble. I probably should have tried to get to pit road before him, just to try to get a little bit time back to me. Obviously, if I had gotten to pit road first, he'd have the fresher tires. But I knew I had to get to pit lane as soon as I saw he was on there, just because of the speed in which the tires have being fresh. So we definitely had to get in next time by. Felt like I got onto pit road pretty good. After I got out, I think that the gap was pretty much the same, so I don't think I gained or lost anything from it. And then I think Chad ran into some issues. He had a lap car, held him up, so that definitely helped us gain some time back that we had lost. And I don't know if he got damage out of that or not, but I was on his bumper for a few laps, and he was hard to get around, that's for sure. He was quick.
Yeah, how surprising it was with that relative turned off coming over the hill on turn 4 to see the leader right in front of you. That I guess is surreal. You didn't have to chase as long as we were hoping you would have there to come up to the closing laps. I think it would have been a close one, but nonetheless, West Coast Swing is yours. Congratulations, Jeff. Going to Bristol next week. We know that you're fast there. We've got a few different names that do well at short tracks, but we look forward to that as well. Jeff, do you have anyone you'd like to shout out and thank for tonight's win?
Yeah, just thanks to the other league admins for helping put these events on. Brian Chambliss, Reggie Ortega, Chad Klinger. And then also our sponsors, our partners that help us make this thing happen. Tractor USA, Walk and Roll and Costumes. And then, we had Brantley Roden in the chat tonight, I see. So with Harpoon Design being a premier sponsorship, we had Harpoon on the card tonight as well. So awesome to get them in victory lane. Brantley's been doing my paint schemes for a long time now. So if you ever need a paint, go to harpoondesign.com and he'll hook you up with a pretty cool paint scheme. He does a really good job, and just really thankful for the partnership. And then obviously you guys up in the booth. We're so happy to have V-Speed with us this season. You guys do incredible work, and we're just super thankful to have you guys, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Looking forward to it as well. We appreciate all the kind words. Thank you, Jeff Wright, and congratulations on the trifecta, the triple, the crown, and the West Coast Swing. We'll see you next week at Bristol.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is, Jeff Wright, getting it done. It was a good race. I know that it didn't come down to the wire like we've been so spoiled, Connor, to see these races come down to the last lap. But nonetheless, for road course, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Sonoma is one of those tracks that it's hard for the track not to deliver action just because of the way it's constructed with the elevation change, with braking zones the way they are, and how tight the racing can be at times where you have room in some corners and then goes down the one lane in others. It gets pretty wild, and we saw it get wild. We had multiple incidents. We had drivers getting into a wall, drivers getting into one another. Had everything tonight. We had different leaders. We had strategy come into play. End of the day, came down to lap traffic deciding this one. We haven't really seen this year. Lap traffic kind of decided this one after the contact Klinger had with Travis Bieber. Jeff Wright was able to capitalize after Klinger capitalized on his mistake. Kind of traded mistakes tonight, but there's only one king of the West Coast. That's Jeff Wright.
Final results up on the screen. Jeff Wright, your winner. Chad Klinger, Ryan Carwile, your top three. Joseph McWhorter, the comeback from the black flag, gets up to fourth. Sean Langton holds on to fifth with the damage. Then we have Michael Kostick in sixth position, James Loveland in seventh. Solid drivers here from sixth on back. Jonathan Cofield, Ray Massey, and AJ Stravato is going to round out your top 10.
Stravato got back up to 10th, so okay for him, but I'm sure he'll be thinking about that contact in turn 2, but at least for the rest of tonight. As we look at the rest of this top 20, I would say. Jonathan Smith, 11th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin had an incident pretty early on. He was able to continue stay in 12th, just barely missing out on 11th over Jonathan Smith. That drag race those two had. Caleb Weekly, 13th position, and then everyone else was a lap down or more. Andy Kurtz, 14th. Justin Ritchie, who had an incident with the 73 McWhorter early, or actually late in that run. C. McDonald, Eddie Trejo, who traded blows in that last lap battle. Mark McFadden, Travis Bieber, who had the incident with Chad Klinger. He'll be thinking about that one potentially. And Max Cost. Bieber actually didn't finish the race. Only 18 drivers finishing tonight. Then Bieber and Cost off track, 19th and 20th.
Moving on to 21st position. We're going to have Brett Bieber in the 808. We saw him sitting kind of beach there on the S's on the hill. He's going to come home in 21st position. Eddie Smith with the damage that he ensued on the car under caution trying to catch the pace car, locked it up or throttle control. I don't know exactly what happened. That car snaps loose and hits the tire barrier. Charles Phelps in 23rd, Clifton Cockrell 24th, and 25th, Vincent Arthur and Daniel Cunningham. Those bottom three did elect to stay behind the wall for the beginning of this race. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast here on V-Speed. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have plenty of racing left to do here at Saturday Night Racing League. We're going to Bristol next week at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you can join us there. Like to see everybody in chat. Give us your opinions on the Jeff Wright trifecta and that West Coast swing. It was a great show. Until then, hope to see you out on the track. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh, big wiggle. Here comes Lyle using the bottom. Zach Car closing in behind.
And here comes Lionel. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets turned.
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it all.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.